Hey friends, so let's talk today a little bit about stress. Because to be honest, I think that we have gotten the concept of stress all wrong. Kind of like treating the symptom of a disease or a cold or a virus. I think that we're looking at stress in a way that really doesn't serve us. If you go back about 50 years ago, you never heard of people being under stress. And stress has really exploded in recent years. Now you're hearing things about women in constant chronic fatigue or adrenal fatigue. Or you may hear about, the person that is now having panic attacks. Those are all very, very real things. They are things that we can test for and things that we can see. So it's not to say that stress is not real. But it is to say that I think that when we talk about, ways to deal with our stress, that we're actually only treating symptoms instead of actually treating the real problem. So let's look more closely at stress itself. So when we look at stress exactly, the definition of stress is something being placed under extreme pressure, right? For most of us, we can completely relate to what that means. But let's also look at some of the things that happen when things are placed under complete pressure. So for instance, a lump of coal, which is an incredible heating source, right? It is useful in its own right. It can be mined, is also, when placed under incredible pressure, transformed into this beautiful high value diamond. Now by itself, coal is extremely useful, but when placed under pressure, transforms to become something even more miraculous and something valued even greater than what its present form was. The same thing goes with muscle tissue, right? So as my work as a personal trainer, I am constantly putting people and their bodies under incredible amounts of stress. Bodybuilders do this to an extreme. They take what is a common physique and a common muscle, and they actually, putting it under stress, break those muscle fibers. The purpose of breaking those muscle fibers is actually so that way they will overlap, creating a greater bond and thereby increasing their size and their muscle mass, but also making that muscle stronger. So if that muscle had never been stressed and torn, it could never have gotten stronger and bigger and larger and having changed the physique. Now compare those two examples to how we typically think of stress. We think of it as something that's negative, that's unwanted, something that is going to tear us apart, right? Those examples that I used: panic attacks, tightness in your chest, adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue. All of those things is the body being placed under an incredible amount of pressure. Examples abound as to everyday people that when placed in situations of extreme stress and extreme pressure are able to transform and do miraculous things. We saw this after all of the hurricanes that we just experienced. We saw people risking their own lives under incredible amounts of physical stress themselves to help other people. And as a result, we're uplifted, we're encouraged, we're motivated by their examples. But oftentimes our thoughts of stress are the exact opposite. It's something that we need to get rid of. It's something that we need to overcome. It's something that we need to squash or solve. But really, you can't squash or solve stress. You can't get rid of stress. Stress is necessary. Stress is needed. It's what transforms the coal into the diamond, or the muscle into greater strength, or the person from ordinary to what we would term a hero. So stop chasing stress. Stress is caused by various things in your life that are not matching up to what you would want them to be, right? It's the pay that doesn't match our expenses. It's the job that we can't stand, or the people that we're working with that we can't seem to understand. It's our children not listening to us, or our spouse that we're just not seeing eye to eye on. It's, the political situation. It's something that is not matching up with our desires, our dreams, or our expectations. Those are the things that typically cause us stress. But listen to that. Those are symptoms. Those are not the causes of stress. So if you can unwind and stay in that present moment and think to yourself, what has me stressed out? And then what can I do about it? So your finances are not matching up with the expenses. Can you cut some expenses? Can you find some ways to bring in more income? Can you sell some things in order to bring in that income? I am not saying that any of that is easy at all. It's hard. I have been there. But it is possible. And when you take action, you start to reduce the stress. It's like putting pressure onto that lump of coal. It's the action of the pressure that transforms the coal into the diamond. It's like lifting a weight and putting, the muscle under pressure. It's the action of lifting that transforms the muscle into that tearing to make it stronger. It's the people after the hurricanes that went into action that transforms themselves from ordinary to extraordinary, into what we call heroes. And the same thing with work. Can you listen to those people around you differently? Can you develop a different skill set? Do you need to find a different way to work? Do you need to listen to some music? Do you need to work differently? Do you need to learn a new skill so that way you can get out of that job and get a better one? For your children, do you need to take more time and be present? Do they want more of your attention? Same thing with your spouse. I know for me, that's certainly what it is. When my spouse and I, when we are not matching up, it's because I need to take more time and listen to his side. What are his wants? What are his needs? What are his desires? Right? Because like I said before, it's our expectations that cause that stress. It's not where we are. It's not what we thought. It's not our dream. And so there's a mismatch from where we are to where we want to be. It's a symptom. So instead of treating the symptom, stress, treat the cause. Focus on the cause. And realize that just like the lump of coal, just like the new muscle, just like the ordinary people, when put under incredible amounts of pressure, you can transform into something that is valued beyond belief, into someone who is stronger than you were before, and into someone who is not just ordinary, but extraordinary, and a motivator and encourager of other people. Use stress to your advantage. Stop treating the symptoms and start taking action.